Maligayang bati, I am Gwyneth from the Philippines.
Namaste, I'm Nicole from India.
Salam to everyone. I'm Umair from Pakistan.
Kia ora, I am Cara from New Zealand.
Namaskara, I am Grenville.
How has everyone been doing? I've had so much fun yesterday. Do you remember the experiences of being a person of unity like Cara said?
Of course, I also could not forget meeting teenagers of Focolare movement who are active in 182 countries all over the world. It makes me wholeheartedly want to live towards unity and sharing in the act of loving community and dialogue.
Yes, if you want to know more about us as the Teens of Unity for the Focolare movement, and for those who missed yesterday's program, you can visit our page and our social media links, which is at Teens for Unity on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram.
Before we go on, I have a random question.
What is it?
Do you think trees can grow in eroded soil?
Of course not. Trees can't grow without a strong and sustainable foundation, and definitely not on their own.
If its environment is not properly well taken care of, naturally it will die.
Yes, and like us humans, we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves, like how we should conserve our environment.
Now that you mention it, we are the roots, leaves, and fruit that the future generations will benefit from.
Like trees, if we can't grow because of man-made disasters, then how can our future generations will live?
Stay tuned because that's what we're here to talk about today.
Welcome to the second day of Hombre Mundo entitled World Tree Responsibility, where we will tackle important issues on ecology and zero hunger.
So, what is ecology and zero hunger all about? Whenever you hear these words, what comes first to your mind?
I can see that everyone has a similar and almost the same understanding on the term ecology.
You're right, Nicole. To know more about it, let's watch this interview on ecology by our friends from the Philippines.
We are blessed to witness this enchanting planet, although it makes me wonder about its future. Its glorious beauty may soon be gone if we don't change our ways and if we don't take measures.
But before we move forward, let's introduce ourselves first. So, hello, we are from the Climate Action Council of Young Ones for Unity University of Santo Tomas Senior High School from the Philippines. If I may introduce myself, I am Simon Santos, your host for today.
And I am Deanne Lopez, host number 2. We're excited to be here along with our fellow youths and discussing the importance of taking action for the sake of ecology.
That is absolutely correct. We are here to learn more about how we, the youths, can do our part in fighting against ecological issues such as climate change.
And to help us learn more about what's happening and what can be done, we are pleased to introduce our guest here with us.
Now, he is the current President and Chief Operating Officer of the Filipino company, Energy Development Corporation, the largest vertically integrated geothermal company in the world. Without further ado, here is Mr. Richard D. Tantoco. Hello, sir.
Hi, Simon. Hi, Dean. Good to be with you today.
Hello, sir. So, we would like to know, part of a youth organization, we would like to know about the current situation regarding ecological issues such as the effects of climate change. Would you mind telling us about that?
Right. Okay, Dean. I love this topic, and if you leave me to my own devices, I could probably talk about this for 2 days straight. But for now, I just want to give you like a small potted version about the current situation of the ecology, including climate change, right? So let me start. I prepared a few slides to share because I've been quite busy advocating for climate action for quite a while now. So let me start by just saying that the world has warmed quite significantly since pre-industrial times, approximately in the last 150 years, right? And this warming is caused by greenhouse gases. But what are greenhouse gases, right? You have 6 of them. You have carbon dioxide, which we exhale, or it comes out when we burn fuel in cars. We have methane. We have ozone. Nitrous oxide comes from a lot of factories and power plants. And then we have CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, which used to be used in air conditioners, and then water vapor. These 6 together are the greenhouse gases that are driving climate change. What do they do, no? The greenhouse gases basically trap the heat of the sun inside the atmosphere. Normally, the radiant heat of the sun bounces out into outer space. But because these greenhouse gases are out there in the atmosphere, the heat of the sun gets trapped, right? And that leads to the warming of the earth. And because of global warming, because of all of these gases, a hotter planet results in hotter oceans. And hotter oceans basically result in really intense storms. No? So please show the next slide. So here you see the path of Typhoon Odette, right? Typhoon Odette, which struck our country last December 17, up until 24 hours, it was known as a Category 1 storm. So less than 100 kilometers per hour wind and not too much rainfall. And then the whole Philippines was caught in a shock because within 24 hours, it became Category 5. Last couple of points on the state of the ecology. So I think the other thing that's going to happen is there will be increased droughts, and desertification, as we call it. So in California, in the United States, every summer around June, July, Portland, Oregon, we see these massive 100, 200,000 kilometer size droughts and fires, right? Wildfires, entire forests that have been there for 50, 100 years burning, right? You know what's happening in the northern part of California is before, if you look at the records of the past 200 years, they had hot winds coming once every 7 years. And they call these winds El Diablo, the demon. No? Every 7 years, like a clockwork, umiinit yung wind. No? But in the last 10 years, El Diablo has come 8 years in a row. So less snow in the winter, less rain collected in the lakes, the ground and the grass is less wet, and then the hot winds blow, just waiting for a spark, right? Resulting in the burning of homes, entire communities, huge forests, farmlands, businesses, wineries, and then others. So climate change is going to affect everything, and it's because of human actions. That's the state of ecology. Thank you for that first question, Dean.
That's a very comprehensive answer from Sir Ricky. Very substantial in terms of the effects of climate change. And as part of a youth organization that wishes to help you in your quest to prevent climate change, most of our members have prepared questions, from various perspectives. So to cue the first question, it will be asked by one of our committee heads. Her name is Bianca, and she will be asking you a question about the role of youth in the environment.
Why is the role of youth important in saving the environment? And given this, how are we to be informed about these ecological issues, and what actions can be taken when these topics are not normally talked about specifically in some schools?
Okay. Well, Bianca, thank you so much for the question. My view is that the youth is the most important piece in the puzzle. People of your generation, who are between the ages of, say, 13 to 20 right now. I'm not sure if you're aware, but most of the scientific discoveries and the average age of Nobel Prize winners in science is not 50 or 60 like me, no, I'm 55, but it's actually 32. In the next 10 to 15 years, what you will be doing with your lives will determine the fate of the planet. We do not have yet sufficient innovations to address climate change. So the youth is exceedingly important, and I hope that you focus on career paths and learning and a trajectory that will help you understand what's going on and make you ponder and think about how we can solve some of the problems. I really like the question of Bianca because it starts from the point of curiosity. And the question was, how are we to be informed about these ecological issues when it's not being taught in schools, right? So my view is that I'd like the youth to spend some time to become aware. So for starters, I'm going to recommend two things, books as well as podcasts, okay? The first one is What We Know About Climate Change. It's the shortest of the books I'm going to recommend. It's written by Carrie Emanuel. Carrie Emanuel is the head of meteorology and climate studies in the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, or MIT. And he writes this very approachable book where he captures facts. No exaggeration, no? Just facts from data, and it's packed with charts. The second book I'd like to recommend is a book called The Story of More. The third book that I'm going to recommend is called We Are the Weather, okay, by Jonathan Safran Foer. Jonathan Foer basically says, our actions make us fully accountable. And this is what the average human being is doing today, that impacts on the weather. And finally, for a more macro view, this is like a global scale view, but the best book I've read so far that crystallizes everything in one place was written by Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster, right? So those are 4 good places to start. Unless you are educated and know the fact base, you will be guessing the whole time, and it's going to be like tweets, which don't really provide a good base from which to speak and to advocate. And then I also have some podcasts that I listen to, and I'm going to recommend 3 here today. The first one is TED Climate by TED Group. The second is The Climate Question. This is by the BBC. And then finally, Climate Change for Beginners by Dr. Sharon O'Carroll. Those are really good resources. And my tip is, on question 2 is, how do you learn about it? You really have to spend time, because unless you make time for it, you'll never learn it. You'll be guessing and you'll be swept by blood. So I recommend these 4 books and these 3 podcasts if you really want to up your game as a climate warrior, a climate advocate, climate change expert. Then once you know what's going on, and once you have a very good fact base, what you need to do is spend some time, think and reflect, and then decide what you can do to help and to change the course of the earth. So I hope that helps answer that first question of how do you up your game.
Okay, thank you for those insightful and wonderful recommendations, Sir Ricky.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky, for helping us realize that as young people have a role to play with the environment too. Most of us will find it difficult to maintain a sustainable lifestyle since it requires overcoming barriers such as eliminating old habits. Hence, we are encouraged to adapt to small changes, at least through simple acts of kindness towards our more sustainable lifestyle, especially given that the majority of our lives have been spent doing things that already have a bad impact on the environment.
To watch the complete interview of Richard Tantoco on ecology and the role that the youth play in protecting the environment, please click the link below. It is now time for us to journey to Costa Rica, where our Gen3 friends on the ground are waiting to give us a virtual tour of the country's magnificent landscape.
Costa Rica is a tropical country with beautiful beaches.
Costa Rica is a country that uses 99% clean energy. Costa Rica is a country without an army. Costa Rica is a democratic country in which individual rights are respected.
One of the typical dishes in Costa Rica is rice and beans. We Teens for Unity of Costa Rica live for a united world.
To tell us more about ecology is our next expert, a botanist and scientist, Mr. Yob Doronilla with the Teens for Unity from Melbourne, Australia.
You know, for this speaker, his first encounter to caring for the environment was at our age. He shared that when he was a teenager, he went to the beach with his friends. When they were cleaning up, one of his friends suggested to throw the trash in the ocean. But he realized the damage this would do to the ocean. Instead, he suggested to properly dispose it of, and since then he's dedicated his life towards working for ecology.
That is amazing! That simple experience and realization has become his advocacy. Let's watch his video.
What small and easy steps can we as individuals follow that in our day-to-day life that will have a big impact in ecology in the long run?
Well, I think one thing that helps in because one of the big problems in the world today is we overconsume. We waste so much stuff that we end up with so much rubbish, isn't it? So even one of the things like eating less junk food, so to speak, actually makes a big difference, because if we say we don't want to eat, let's say, a hamburger every day, then people from other parts of the world don't have to raise too much cattle that require a lot of water, a lot of nutrients, and they produce a lot of waste and a lot of greenhouse gases. Even that alone convinces people, hey, we can make a difference. And then another thing is, I'm sure most of you like veggies and fruit. One of the problems we've had in the past is, in the supermarkets, they sell you all these perfect bananas, for example. I remember me and some friends, we said, this is terrible that all the bananas, to produce a banana of the right size and the right shape, they have to throw away half the bananas that aren't the right size and shape. But then we said, well, if we let other people know that we are happy to eat bananas that are not exactly the right size and shape, then we're not wasting food, and that's good for the environment, and it's also good for people because it makes the price of bananas go down, for example. So that's one example. Another thing is not to buy too many clothes all the time. In fact, there's so many good clothes that you can buy in the second-hand shops, and then sharing these around is another way of producing less waste. And because there's lots of wonderful stuff, and then not not using the clothes dryer too much for it. But there are lots of practical things that you can do at home. That I'm sure with your parents you can think about that don't waste a lot of energy. But even now, because of COVID, I'm sure we've used cars and trains and buses a lot less, and we've done a lot of walking with our family, and even slowing down has really made us discover the world around us, and also the joy of being with our friends and family in ways that we just don't go hyper, if you like. And just slowing down has helped us use less energy in many ways, and it's made us spend time in a really wonderful way.
It's truly about the habits and practices we commit. Hopefully, we are all aware and with good intentions, even in the usual activities we thought as simple as eating has a great effect on our environment and our neighbors.
Known for the famous Parmigiano Reggiano Parmesan cheese, balsamic vinegar, Pavarotti, Lambrusco wine, and fancy cars like the Ferrari and Maserati, Italy is also fast and progressive when it comes to fashion. But what is the impact of fast fashion on our environment really? Let us hear it from our friends Sara, Anna, Ester from Modena, Italy.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Anna, Sara.
Hi everyone, we are Anna, Sara, and Esther, Jen from province of Modena in Italy. We wanted to share with you a very interesting experience we had in November 2021. Talking amongst ourselves, we realized that we didn't know much about the production of clothes we wear. One of our Jen assistants introduced us to fast fashion for the first time, so we became curious and decided to learn more about it.
Do you guys know what we mean when we talk about fast fashion? Fast fashion is a sector of the clothing industry that makes poor quality clothes at very low prices and launches collections in a very short time. On the one hand, this may seem to us something interesting and advantageous because it is really useful to enter the main chains of shopping malls and always find nice new clothes at affordable prices. On the other hand, it is good to understand what is behind it. Fast fashion has a very serious impact both at environmental and human levels. In fact, in order to allow us to buy clothes at such a low price, supply chains that produce them exploit their workers. Tens of thousands of women, men, and often children are exploited in countries around the world where labor is cheap. Fast fashion also has a very serious environmental impact. In the production of clothes, the fast fashion supply chain ranks second in terms of the amount of pollution produced, only after the oil industry. By producing poor quality clothes, which break quickly and force us to throw them away, tons of wastes are produced every year, which we have no way to dispose of.
What can we do about all this? Manitese gave us the opportunity to explore the topic. Manitese is a non-governmental association and a non-profit organization that has been fighting for social, economic, and environmental justice in the world for over 50 years. It operates in Africa, Asia, and Latin America. One of their offices in Italy is in Finale Emilia, where we stayed. 3 volunteers explained to us what fast fashion is, and through hands-on workshops, we were able to observe the origin and composition of clothing. Finally, we went to their market, where we were able to see second-hand clothes, and we understood that one of the ways to solve the problems related to fast fashion is to buy second-hand clothes.
We will now behold a fantastic musical rendition as our friends from Brazil sing a song for us.
Wow, more on the simple things we can do as teens. Now let's watch this group from Austria who started a tournament to raise funds for their tree planting project.
Hi, we are the Gen 3 from Austria, and we would like to present to you some of our latest projects. For example, as you cannot see, this group today has planted over 700 trees to save the environment, and together we can do better.
So the money we spent on this tree project, we collected it from the Fair Play tournament in Vienna.
So the theme was fair play against climate change, and there were about 120 players and 100 helpers.
And from the money we collected there, we bought 1,500 trees, which we are planting today.
I am from this area, and I saw that here many people who own forests have problems with a little insect. Trees fall down and the weather is dry and the persons need help. And so I thought there are so many people who want to do something against climate change, and I thought let's come together and plant trees. I organized it. I'm very happy because people really like it. People really like to work together to cooperate. And that is a new feeling we really need and we all appreciate.
I think it's going really good.
Yes.
I like it.
As our motto on the Fair Play tournament was Fair Play against climate change, we decided that we really want to do something about the climate change. We came to this Waldinsel project, and as it is really cool that we can take action ourselves, we definitely decided that we make a whole weekend out of this. And yeah, so now we're staying here and are having a great time planting trees. Helping the planet.
Future.
Fun.
United world.
Community.
Sustainability.
Saving the future.
Change.
All better together.
For the fresh air in the future.
For the Austrian forests.
For our future climate.
Let's plant the trees!
What a nice way to help the environment while enjoying the fun games. Having the potential to be top of the destination for ecotourism, let us travel to the beautiful Libreville, Gabon. But there's more. Let's listen to our friend Alvin.
Hi, my name is Alvin, and I'm presenting this experience on behalf of all the Gen 3 and Gen 4 in my neighborhood. I present this green experience that we had with the Gen 4 of the Sotega district, a district of the city Libreville. At the end of our retreat from October 29th to the 31st of 2021, freshly enriched with Cara's meditation on collective spirituality, by other themes, who is God for me and who am I? We wanted to love by changing the world immediately, to apply the word of life received during our retreat. We wanted to carry our good deed, but we did not know how to concretely bring Jesus into our living environment. We looked around and noticed that behind the house of Messi, a Gen 3, Rabbi and Jonel, Gen 4, a rubbish dump was growing. We wondered if we could take action here for the health of our environment. Together, we decided to clean this landfill from top to bottom. After cleaning, we found it useful to plant papaya trees in okra, and we asked Messi and Rabbi's father not to throw garbage there, but rather in public bins available by the road. Messi's father, having noticed the change in our act of love, gave us some money. We were happy to have performed an act of love, to have contributed to the health of our environment, and to see the fight against zero hunger. Bye, everyone.
We will now travel to the Philippines and Vietnam, where we will be treated to fantastic dance performances. After which, the wondrously talented Gentry of the Philippines will sing a song titled Paradiso.
cùng đón Chúa Xuân đang giáng xuống trần.
Thế gian lắng nghe tình xuân nồng, kiếm hoa hết phai đời hương phấn.
Nào ai hững hờ, xuân vẫn ngóng chờ.
Tới đây nắm tay cùng ca múa, hát lên đón xuân của tuổi thơ.
Xuân đã đến rồi, gieo rắc ngàn hồn hoa xuống đời.
Vui trong bình minh, muôn loài chim hát vang mọi nơi.
Đèn trong tiếng cười, cho kiếp người tình thương đắm đuối. Ánh xuân đem vui với đời.
Return to a land called Paradiso, a place where dying river ends. No birds dare fly over Paradiso, nor space allows them to endure the smoke that screens the air, the grass that's never there. And if I could see a single bird, what a joy. I tried to write some words and create a simple song to be heard by the rest of the world.
Wow, how meaningful and creative was that? It's our time to answer the call of recreating a better world, making it a paradise where we are free and united with nature.